What is up, my friends? Derrick Evans here. I am a senior mortgage loan officer, NMLS 1555010. The big question is, how much are closing costs when you buy a home in San Diego? And today we are going to go through that in detail for you. All right, so bottom line is this. There's a few things that we need to look at, but most importantly, understand the nomenclature. So how much money does it cost to buy a home? How much money does it take to buy a home? A lot of times when people ask the closing cost question, that's really the question they want to have answered. So we're going to look at this. There's three things to consider here: down payment, closing costs, and cash to close, which is a formula of the down payment and the closing costs. I'm going to go through each of these with you so you understand them fully before you head out into the waters of the real estate market to buy a home. So down payment. Down payment is different for different loan programs. So FHA, it's 3.5%. Conventional is 5%. VA is 0%. Percentage of what, Derrick? Percentage of the purchase price. So if you're buying a $500,000 home, for example, with a conventional loan, 5% of $500,000 is $25,000. So you'll be required to put a minimum of $25,000 down in that scenario. What if I don't have a down payment? Well, there's a couple things that you can do. Really, the one main thing that you can do if you don't have a down payment and you are not VA is that you could get a gift. You can get a gift from a family member. This gift can be for the entire amount of the down payment and the closing costs if you want. If you're going to do this, though, there's a certain way you need to do it to make it easy on yourself. Otherwise, you could have a paperwork nightmare on your hands. Don't just have your relative send you the money to your bank account. Trust me, don't do that. I can help you understand exactly how to do this. So if you're going to do that, reach out to me. Let me know, and I'll show you the correct steps to take. Okay, so you don't get screwed up on that. What about down payment assistance? So this is the other one, and in some cases, this does work. It can work. I just don't want to get your hopes up. There's a lot of people out there running ads saying, "Oh, call us about down payment assistance programs." It's really just a marketing scheme, if you will. Down payment assistance is difficult. The main reason it's difficult is because in San Diego County, we have a relatively low median income. And you have to go by zip code for most of these programs. So you have to have a median in household income at the level that's average for your zip code or below in order to qualify for down payment assistance. Well, unfortunately, because prices are so high here and the median incomes are so low, it usually doesn't work. If you qualify for the down payment assistance, you won't qualify for the home and vice versa. So it's a very small needle to thread, although it can work. So I don't want to completely discourage you, but it's something that you really need to look into the details on, and I can help you with that if you'd like. Okay, now let's talk about closing costs. So when people say closing costs, what do they mean? Sometimes people mean, how much are you charging me? Sometimes people mean, how much are the costs of all the things that it takes to close a loan? And that's correct. And sometimes people mean, what is my actual out-of-pocket expense going to be? What are my costs to close? So let me explain what closing costs really are. First of all, this is how you calculate them. This is my magic formula. Everyone should have this. If you're buying a home in San Diego, it works almost perfectly. If you're up in Riverside County, it may not translate on some of the properties, but it's still a good estimate because the tax rates can be a little bit more varying up there. But $1,500 for every $100,000 in purchase price. So again, if you're buying a $500,000 home, then you can expect about $7,500 in closing costs. That's just a very simple example. But whatever you need to do, if you're looking at a certain purchase price, just divide that purchase price by 100,000 and then take that times 1,500, and that will get you a good estimate for your closing costs. Now, that's assuming that you're going to escrow your taxes and insurance and pay those taxes and insurance premiums up front a little bit into your escrow account to get it started. So if you're not going to do that, or if you have a different tax rate, it could change this amount quite a bit. So this is an average basic calculation. It's really helpful, and it's insane how accurate it is. But it can change if tax rates are different. Like I said earlier, Riverside County has different tax rates. It also could change if you don't escrow. So if you don't impound for taxes and insurance, then this could change. This would actually go down a lot. So you can only do that if you're putting 20% down on your home. And so if you're going to put 20% down, you can say, hey, I want to waive the impounds. I don't want to do taxes and insurance in the payment. I want to pay it on my own. And if you do that, then your closing costs will be reduced because you won't have taxes and insurance involved in your closing costs. And they do make up the biggest portion of the closing costs. So your homeowner's insurance can have an impact on this because that is paid when your worth is paid at closing. So if you don't impound, then you're not going to have that on there. Or if you have insurance that's expensive. Some people are in fire areas, have to get the California Fair Plan, stuff like that. Your insurance could be a lot more. That could make your closing costs go up. All right, now cash to close. What is cash to close? So these are the three things I want you to understand: down payment, closing costs, and cash to close. These are the things you need to understand, and the terms specifically and what they mean. So we talked about down payment, what that is. That's how much you're putting down on the loan based on your program. We talked about closing costs, how those can vary, but a good calculation, a good formula to calculate what you can expect for those. You add those two together, and that gives you your cash needed to close. So the amount of money you need to buy a home is just simply your down payment plus your closing costs. Add those together, and now you've got your cash to close. And that's how much money you're going to need in your bank ultimately to fund the loan. Okay, a few reminders today, and these actually are more new information versus reminders, but I always like to try to give these nuggets out at the end of the video. The term closing cost means different things to different people. So know the terms that matter. We talked about what is closing costs, what is cash to close, what is down payment. Know what those three things mean. It'll make it much easier for you to understand what's going on. Those are the industry terms. So if you know what the industry terms are, you'll be better off. You can get a gift from a family member. And a lot of people do this to buy a home, and is a very effective and simple way to go about it. If you don't have enough money for your down payment and closing costs, you can get a gift to help, or you can get a gift to pay for the entire amount. As long as it's from a family member, it's totally okay. So keep that in mind. You can get closing costs paid for by the lender by taking a higher interest rate. You cannot get your down payment paid for in this way, but your closing costs could be paid by the lender. I can show you exactly how that would work for you. You would just simply take a higher interest rate. A good example on this recently, I had a buyer who qualified for 2.25% FHA. By taking 2.75% FHA, she was able to pay for all of her closing costs through a lender credit. So that is something that you can do. So I just want to make sure you're not discouraged by this, that there are ways to sort of hack the system. You just kind of have to know how to do it, and I can help you with that. If you want to get started with a loan application, all you have to do is go to derrickevans.com. That will always point to my most updated loan application link so that you can apply for a refi or to buy a home very quickly and easily. Of course, you can always call, text, email me, whatever's easiest for you. I'm happy to make myself available as often as possible to answer your questions, to be there for you. So feel free to do any of the above, whatever's easiest for you. My NMLS is 155010. That is it for today, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Share this video with your friends. Let's help make them smarter than everyone else.